Ohen, oya sell ogbe o. Um, okay, Simon, we send you a WhatsApp message. If if phone no hacking ya a message no bang you man. Yeah, we live video now, so I'm going again see probably I'm done. Why sell ogbe? Um, in the past 1 week or so, I've granted a couple of interviews. I think the last interview, some of you followed the last interviews. Some of you followed the last interview. We discovered that do it was the all true. I is able. Uh, I hope we are all doing amazingly well in our respective places. I know today it's quite busy for all of us, and no pre-information. I just don't because I looked at tomorrow. I'm hosting a couple of friends in my house. I'm hosting a couple of friends in my house. I'm hosting a couple of friends in my house tomorrow, and last week it might be Ladian because of women and all of that. I won't be able to come on air online because I'm hosting a couple of friends and in my house, and that could linger on until late nights. Okay, so now okay now well we have had to speak on numerous issues, and today generally we're just going to talk, and I'm just going to instead of about Mr. Modin or Igue or Igue. We're just going to talk generally of things generally, and talk about Igue Festival, and to make all of us understand that Igue Festival is our God-given idea to thank Him. What a lot of persons do not really understand about Igue is that Igue is festivities. Igue is like a plural version of Ugie. Igue is like the plural. I'm not saying is. It's like the plural version of end of year festivities. That's what Igue means. Igue is like end of year festivities for the Edo people, not a festival. So we should start correcting some of the fallacies. First, it's not Igue Festival. It is rather Igue festivities, because what makes Igue is not a single event, it's cascades. Ave Ugie na we ukbohagba awugie ya fe na dwa ukbohagba edo tie Igue. Ave Ugie na ido tedo we ukbohagba edo tie Igue. So Igue festivities. There are several Ugie that makes Igue. I'm sure a lot of persons are not aware. Under Igue, you have Igue Ugie Mobile. You have Ugie, you have Ugie Eon, Well, you have Ugie Aweroba, you have Ugie Ugiewere, you have different Ugie. No, Bridget Wonder. I'm not Lancelot. I'm not Lancelot now. Everyone knows Lancelot. Lancelot is the big man. I'm not related to him either. No, I'm not related to him. I think Lancelot is from Odionwere. I'm from Yekorion. So we have to understand that awugi na do ukpo ha gba, awugi na do ukpo ha gba. Igue. Let me just quickly answer the question. He said, who is superior between Odionwere and Enogie? All right. You want a candid Izoduwa. You want a candid opinion. None of them is more superior. If you want a candid opinion, none of them is more superior. Izoduwa, one of a mionata. The system created by ancestors makes it essentially possible for these different titles or stool to have its own independent relevance. Do you get? The oldest system of governance in Benin, prior before the eras of the Ogisos and the eras of the Obas, is the Odionwere system. Is the oldest. Is the oldest. The Odionwere system is the oldest system of governance because it's the easiest. No, I feel I bear. Or many years it's here. You don't consult an oracle to know who is the oldest in the community. Yes, it's not heard it in the past. It's recently one there used to be inside Orion, not they were together. One they were Orion, just like Ikbobaha and Ego was removed from Oredo. And one there was also equally removed from Orion. They are interpares, they are almost like the same equal. But in modern day eras, some of these Enogie has made it fledging that you not believe that an Enogie hierarchically is higher than an Odionwere. Well, for some reasons, a lot of people could argue that the Enogies are higher hierarchically. All right? But the decision-making system of a community rests on the shoulders of the Odionwere. Odionwere is the head of Ogwejion. Is the head of Ogwejion. And Ogwejion is the highest decision-making system of a community is at the Ogwejion. It's just that we are deviating from the actual traditions and culture of our land. Otherwise, you know that if an Enogie takes a decision in his palace and a decision is taken, a contrary decision is taken at the Ogwejion decision should sum out the decision taken in the palace of the Enogie. All right. So the Ogwejion is the highest system that determines where decisions about community are taken. And the guy who presides, the man who presides over that Ogwejion is your Odionwere. But generally, the caretaker system, the person who presides over the affairs of the community, that responsibility lies on the shoulders of the Enogie. That's why I said They are both important. We shouldn't bring the concept of superiority. Enogie has his role to play in the community. The Odionwere has a role to play in the community. It's just that most of the Odionwere has been too sidelined or relegated to the back door that they no longer, the Enogies no longer, oh, sorry, there's nothing like Enogies. It's Enogie singular, Enigue. The Enigue has now relegated them to the backdrop that they no longer appreciate the role, the ancient role bestowed on the Odionwere. Otherwise, the Odionwere is as important as the Enogie. And the Odionwere system is way older, thousands of years older than the Enogie system. We have to get it clear. So, superiority concept should not even brew in the first place because, respectively, they take. If the Enogie goes to Ogwedion, he's a small boy. That's what I'm saying. If the Enogie of the community goes to Ogwedion, he's a small boy there. It's the Odionwere that presides over the affair of the Ogwedion. And the Enogie, by the traditions, the true traditions of Edo, is compelled to follow the decisions taken at the highest decision-making point, regarded as Ogwedion. I don't know whether we understand. Ejion or Bayevona. Enogie or Gwobagbao or Gwobagbao Revo. In other words, the owners of the community is the Odionwere and his elders. But the caretaker of that community is the Enogie. Do you understand? Imani Nyawo or Abe Odionwere Edion. You understand? Then Emano Bawi no Gwiye Bao Revo. Like his ampadages. There's a system of rulership of community prior before the existence of the Ogisos and the Oba. It has always been there. It has always been there. It's the oldest system of governance in Benin land or Igodomigodo land. All right, I think I've answered that. The another question that just popped up: when was the Igue festival initiated in Benin Kingdom? Now, why is it being celebrated in this Christmas season? No. That's what you're getting wrong. Everrain. It is not Igue that is celebrated in the Christmas season. It is the Christmas. It is the Christmas that is celebrated at Igue season. That is why you see Igue festival is not statutory. I think Igwedoya last year was on the 24th. This year is 27th. It's not statutory. It is based on the consultation. It is based on several factors. All those activities lined up for Igue. It is not as a result of Oba of Benin sitting down and saying, projecting. You don't project. You must do some certain rituals. You must pass through some certain guidelines, right? Starting from Uronigbe and all of that, finishing the Igue and all of that, before the Oba cannot fix a date for the Igue. So it is guided by the spiritual knowledge of our people. In the Parikba, it is guided by the spiritual knowledge of our people. All right, and also it is not declared officially by the Oba of Benin. So it is not the we holding Igue during Christmas period. It is the Christmas guys that are holding it, that are holding Christmas, or the Christians that are holding Christmas during the Igue period. Like I've said, okay, I think I've answered your Everrain. The other question is, why is it that in some communities the Ohen has a final say in that community? Well, I have told you, ordinarily the Ohen should not have a final say. Like I've said, if my father is an Odionwere, If my father is an Odionwere and there is an Ohen, I will never, because I know my words, I know my tradition, and if my father, for example, is an Odionwere of a community, I will not allow an Ohen to preside over the affairs of a community over my father. It's not possible. Even if it's even my grandfather, Igue. Because he ain't leledo. Because a lot of Benin's have allowed some certain things slide. How can Ohen take decision over the Odionwere? It's not possible. Who is an Ohen? Ohen is a chief priest. So for there to be an Ohen in the community, there's a deity, Oba's deity in that community. Only Ohen a Bogoba Norevo ni. And the Oba just chose a chief priest to propitiate it on behalf of him and the entire kingdom, not to preside over the community. It's just like when I'm currently at Okoromi, and I heard that the Ohen Okoromi is the one taking decisions over Ohen. And there's an Odionwere. If my father was out of Odionwere, it will not happen. Let the Ohen come and tell me which of the tradition of Benin that enables him to take decision over a community affairs. Two decisions, like I've said, the caretaker of the community is the Enogie, if there is. But even if a community that has an Enogie that also has an Odionwere, there are levels, there are strata of their governance or their power, and it must not coincide with themselves. But I have said that the highest decision making system in every communal affair is your Ogwedion, and your Ogwedion is presided by the Odionwere. Even the Enogie is a member of the Ogwedion. And the head of that Ogwedion is Odionwere. So if we are to use it by this instance to say who is more superior between an Odionwere and an Enogie, I will tell you it's the Odionwere. Because a decision will not make you a Ogwedion. Ordinarily, the Enogie does not have power to subvert it, because it's the highest decision-making point at the community level. So not to think about, we're not talking about an Ohen, a chief priest. It's down the ladder. But I agree that some of these Ohen take absolutely control of some of these communities. But for the fact that they do it does not make it true, does not make it legal, does not make it traditionally viable. That is why we need a 360 U-turn. We have to get it from the very beginning. A lot of things is faulty about our tradition. A lot of things are not true. A lot of things are wrong. These are some of the things at the community level, and Ohen takes decision over an Odionwere. I remember 4 years ago, I went to Overton. Then that's the first time I knew these things I'm telling all of you today. I went to see the Ohen Overton. Then some of the community elders were angry. They had to call me and they asked me a question. I didn't know where they were coming from, but get the logic. There must have been an existence of a community before there will be a deity. And that's true. There must be an existence of a community before there can be a deity in the community. And that's true. So if there is an existence of a community before a deity, therefore means that there must be an Odionwere first before an Ohen. So automatically, Odionwere takes precedence. So they were trying to guide me that the first person I was supposed to come and see was the Odionwere and not the Ohen. And that was Edinya Zedonima. I will never forget. Ileledo ati nayai. These are the foundations of Edo. Ileledo. I think we're done. We're done with that. So basically, I was talking about Igue. Igue Festival. So I said, basically what I said about Igue Festival was very simple. I said Igue Festival is a cascade of several events. It is a conglomeration of several events. Ugie dadore ami ugie na dove ukpohagba edo tie igwe. So it's not a festival, it's festivities. And the last event, the last event well, like I said, arguments are not are sacred. Facts are sacred. I don't agree with you on that. Odionwere has a vital in the community, but Ugi, Aya, Yewona. That's not true. Now, the first question that I will ask you on the providence of Ileledo, the first question I will ask you, I come here was it not in existence? Do you know that there were existence of these communities for thousands of years? The concept of Enogie started not up to 600 years ago. And most of these communities in Benin, lots of them are more than 2,000 years. What was the system of governance that was preceding, that they used in governing those communities? That is the first question. So that means the Odionwere system is the oldest, like I've said, is the oldest system in Benin. It's older than the Ogiso, it's older than the Oba. All right? That is one. Secondly, the highest decision-making system in a community. It is at Ogwedion and not at the Enoge's palace. Get it very clear. A decision that will be taken, that will stand the test of time, is taken at the Ogwedion. Amanami Ogwedion, I mean, and Anya Ogwedion, or John will Onya Ogwedion. If the Enoge goes to the Ogwedion, if there is a meeting and the Enoge is invited to participate at the Ogwedion, the Enoge is a small boy at the Ogwedion. The leader of Ogwedion is Odionwere, Nyonyahure. You still don't understand. You said the Enoge is more powerful, it's more superior. But at the level of the Ogwedion, it's a small boy to the Odionwere. That's what I've said. Anyway, let's not dwell too much on that. The other question that the person had, why Edo language is not on Google. Now we will put Edo language on Google now. Now we will put Edo language for Google. You shouldn't ask me. If there's no Edo language on Google, do something about it. Do something about it. Those Yoruba language that you saw on Google, those Igbo language that you saw on Google, is because it was Igbos, Yorubas that put it there. Not Google themselves that came to Nigeria and said, oh, is this Yoruba? Okay, let's put it on Google. Well, Mr. Peter Oduwere, well, I've seen some few situations like that But again, like I've said, it is still not traditionally right. It is still not traditionally right. Like one of the community would say that I have an estate. They have an Ohen who preside over the community. Ohen Igue preside over the community. But basically, like I have said, ordinarily, you Ohen cannot single-handedly take some decisions, critical decisions of the community without reverting to the Odionwere. But some of these leadership or these hierarchical structures that was built over the years have been distorted over the years. All right, have been distorted over the years. And for the fact that this is not the norm does not make it correct. I don't disagree that all hands don't take charge of community, but I'm saying that ordinarily is wrong. Ordinarily is wrong because tege tege ade. Like I've said, I've established one universal point. Amiebo ni ake amiebo, ebo boewo, ewo, akamie ebo edu laiwo. When Aya Buevoni, that Evo had a leadership structure, which is the Odionwere system. Like I said, Odionwere system is the oldest system in Benin Kingdom. Maybe a lot of people do not understand that line. It therefore means that the kind of governance, the kind of rule, the kind of rulership system that the Benins were practicing from the very beginning is the Odionwere system. Along the line, alright, along the line, I think our brother said, Enogie do rival. It's at you don't even need some of these parables gives you the truth. But most times you don't even need to tell me some of these things before I know. You just don't know. Once a community is formed, there must be a leadership system. The leader of that community is the oldest. But along the line, then a system was not created back in the central government, which is in the palace of the Oba of Benin, to be like an appendages to be able to help him look after some of these communities and give a report. Now, the system that was not created by the Oba of Benin is not to obliterate the system that has always been there. It's just like what I'm saying for us to understand. It's just like Oba of Benin is is the Oba of everybody, but Oba of Benin has a family, and that family there's an Okaibe. That's where the Iham and Ihogbe comes in. The Oba's immediate family are the Ihogbes, and the head of the Ihogbes is the Ihama. Automatically, Ihama is like the Okaibe of Oba's family. They're not saying Oba Benin is not powerful, but there's a system that he has also grown from. He came from a family, and there's an Okaibe of that family that takes some decisions that you and I might not be aware. Not concerning the family of the Oba, which he's part of the greater Ihogbes family. All right, that's what I'm saying. We're not saying that the Enogie is not powerful, but we are saying that Enogie system is part, was created to corroborate, to work with the Odionwere system. The Odionwere system has always been there from time immemorial. If Ike, my man on you, I don't know what you mean by that. That it was corrupted from those from the top. I don't know what was at the top. But I'm just saying the way it is. You understand? Yeah, what I'm just saying is I would not say that the Enogie is more powerful than the Odionwere. I'm also compared to also not say that the Odionwere is more superior than the Enogie. I will only just say that they all have their roles to play in their community and it's distinct. Only that in recent times, the Enogie has been made to they have they have positioned themselves in the minds of the people to believe that they are greater than the Odionwere, and that's what I'm saying. Otherwise, they both have their roles to play in the community. You understand? Because alternatively, some Enogie oversees more than one community. And every community has an Odionwere. And an Odionwere ordinarily answers to Enogie. That is because these Enogie, some of these Enogie has a mandate to oversee some of these dukedoms by the Oba of Benin. Resident strangers. Yes, you don't give, ordinarily, you don't give Odionwere to Oyegon. It has to be an Omoto. It has to be an indigene that must be an Odionwere, not even if the system recognizes that you have to be an Omoto for you to be recognized as the Odionwere, even if there is an older person who probably is not from that community or who is not an Edo person, who is not a Edo speaking person. All right. So these are some technicalities. I think that's what you meant, Orlando. Aguio, Orlando. I think you've changed your name. You've changed your name. I remember your picture. Well, I think that's where a lot of people has also made the mistake to think that Igue was initiated by Obaiwai the first. Igue was not initiated by the Obaiwai the first. Igue has always been the practice of the Edo people right from the Ugiso eras. It shows that events were being added over the years. Nedowe Ukpukpo has always been part of our practice right from the days of the Ugisos. So Igue could not have started as being propagated by a lot of historians. All right. One of the most remarkable events that is now being witnessed during the Igue, like I've said, Igue are cascades of history, are cascades of events that propitiate the head. Every event is guided towards propitiating the head. And one of the most essential aspects of that festivities is the Ewe. It was Obaiwari that added Ewe to it and made it a sort of a national festival. Get it? I'll give you a very. I heard there was a post I was tagged by those Igbo people where they said that there was a misconception about Oduduwa. That some said that Oduduwa started from the time of Eweka the first, and the other one said that in the same video they said one of the chiefs also said that Oduduwa started during the time of Obayen Soyen. I think that that explains it rightly. Now, the Ovia deity was a royal deity. The Ovia deity in the old, a A lot of you people are not aware of this. I'm not even supposed to speak. I will not speak about it in details. I will not go deep into telling you why, what transpired. But I can only tell you that the Ovia deity was a royal deity, but it was a bonofiano, very harsh. Agawe no walk by a Igue. All right, it wasn't contained by the palace. Or by Ensoye had to let it go. Had to let it go. It used to be inside the palace. A lot of you people are not aware. It had to be moved out of the palace. And there was a festival that the Ovia, there was a royal festival of Ovia Wupupo. And so you needed, because there is no room for vacancy. If one moves, the other one had to replace it. Needed to replace that Ovia deity festival with Odighiodua. Now, get it. It is not Obaensoyen. You might know that I think there's a question like that. I was tagged, but you know the number, they were trying to bring forth about the Caladarian stories and all of that. And so I saw it, I was tagged. It is not the Odighiodua. It is not the Odighiodua. It is not Obaensoyen that started Odighiodua. Odighiodua started by Obaeweka the first. All right, but it was reinitiated as Odighiodua was not a national that is being done publicly on the public domain. That is why you do 7 days in, 7 days out. The 7 days out of the festival was now introduced to replace the Ovia festival. So otherwise, ordinarily, the Odighiodua is a 14 days festival that is not done to the public scenario. All right. When Obaensoye moved the Ovia deity from the palace, he needed to use the Odighiodua to replace the glamour of the Odighiodua. So all of those Igbo people, like I said, you can only sound very smart to those who are not well grounded. What the ITV showed was 2 chiefs, one saying that the festival started during Obaeweka. That's very correct. The other one said that the festival was being celebrated by Obaensoyen. 2 different English. Truly it was started by Obaeweka, but it was not a public thing. It was not a spectacle for the public. It was an internal practice. It's just like Emidu, for example. Emidu is not a public Benin deity. It is only the deity for the royal house. All right. So Ovia deity was a royal deity of the palace. All right. But along the line, some certain history happened. I'm not going to speak about it. It's not for public consumption. Some certain things happened. Obaensoye needed to move the Ovia deity from the royal house. And the festival of the Ovia deity that usually was being practiced annually was now replaced halfly by the Odighiodua. So I wish I can remember all of those lies they were lying. I could have just read it out so that you people can see that these people, they are always spilling lies. But when you know your history, not in the movie, you will dig it back. Everywhere will stop bubble. So we have meaning on that. I don't know what you meant by that. Thank you, sir. She asked Igue. He did not ask the head, but he said, but you said Igue. No. What you don't understand, Igue, head, is the same thing. The essence of Igue is to worship the head. Igue. All right, Igue. Unhuayau. The essence of Igue, Igue, it's just like the Ikpoleki festival. Okwae Ayawo. The essence of the Ikpoleki festival is to propitiate Okwae. The essence of the Igue festival or festivities is to worship the head at different strata of history. Ugemobo is to worship the head. For us being preserved, for the Edo people preserved, that Edoma Dayen during the intra-war between two brothers, Esigi and Arua. That's what signifies Emobo. We worship our head, that God preserved our head, even when we had that intra-war. Ugyo. Ugyo signifies God preserving our head when we had the war between the Benins and the Ida people, the Igala people. The Ugiyon was worshiping our head, for God preserving our head when the royal house had a difficulty with another intra war between the Ejon and part of Benin Kingdom against the other part of Benin Kingdom. So everything about the Igue is to worship the head, is to tell God, thank you for preserving our head all through difficult times at the level of Ugemobo, at the level of Ugewere and all of that. Ewere now it's remarkable because Ewere was introduced into all of these festivities by Ewere. Now Ewere now signifies the beginning of a new chapter. Now, having worshipped the herd, having thanked God for preserving your life, the Ewere now festival now enables you to enter into the new year. So the Benin calendar, the first day of the year, is the day of Ugewere. So technically on the 27th, is it 27 now? Ugewere is 27 or 28. On the 28th, I think, is our new year, not January 1st. January 1st is for the Grego, whatever. It's for the European Greece guys, those Grego, Romanian, whatever, that created the calendar that operates with the January 1st as their new year. But the Benin New Year is the Ugewere. Edu Ugewere is our happy new year. That is our calendar. I'm sure a lot of you people are not aware. But anyway, you come here to be aware. Why do people think it was Obaewa that created that Igue festival? Started. Get it very clearly. It is Obaewa that popularized these festivities. This festival was done at household level, at communal level. It wasn't centralized. It wasn't like Obaga Wigwe, Ibiaduke Wigwe. Anybody could choose at that time of history, could choose when they want to do Ige within a particular sphere of calendar, within a particular time range. Anybody can do Igwe, can choose when they want to do their Igwe. It's just like Obaga Igwena because before other communities. Communities were always doing their Igwe according to what pleases them. My village will do their own Igwe the day they like. Another village, Igwe has always been practice of the Edo people right from the days of the Ogisos. It's only that EY made it, or by EY made it the first, made it more central, made it more popular, made it more central, and that name, that fame of creation was now given to him. All right. So, but what I'm telling you is not popular, but but actually is the truth. Edo we go and keti gade before the times of Obaewa. And like I said, nobody should tag my Igwe as fetish. If you don't misroad, if you have become useless, I'm saying this because some certain people cannot sit in the convenience of their house and begin to tag the ways of other people as fetish. If your religion or whatever you believe in is fetish, that's not my problem. But my Igue that has been bequeathed to us by our ancestors for thousands of years is not fetish. It is our way of life. There is nothing barbaric about it. In short, those who call our Igue barbaric, they're the one whose practices are barbaric. Because Igue is about love. Igue is about appreciating God for preserving your head. The head is the repository of the human body. If the head do not function well, nothing in the body functions well. It is the repository. It is the central. It's just like what the mitochondria, for some of them who do biology, it's just what the mitochondria is to the cell for being the powerhouse. All right, that is what the head is to the body, is the powerhouse. It controls every single activities of the body. If your head is not good, no part of your body is good. So the Benin's have understood that thousands of years ago, that it is the head that controls every other part of the human body. So they had to thank the head. They have to thank God, rather. They have to thank God for protecting their head. Yes. Igwe, it is like I said, Oba cannot come out and say, Akwa Agwe. It is cascade. A lot. Igwena na has started even from August. They have to do so many, and we can't say a lot of those who are very close to, who are from Oronigbe, who are not just from Oronigbe, but those who are close to the culture, traditions of Oronigbe, supposed to know that the Oronigbe people have started doing what they need to do since around August. In our case, we're doing their own August, September, October, November. At the time, they're almost rounding up by November ending or the first week of December. Before there's a presentation, these are rituals. These are core traditions of the Edo people. There's a final ritual they will do before they will now present it to the Oba. Then and there, and the Oba cannot feast activities for the Igwe. So, but the event leading to Oba feasting it takes about 3 months. Now, Bedu, now Uronigbe. Now Bedu, now Uronigbe. So you understand? So we must understand basically how a lot of these things work. So, happy Igwe. You should, wherever you are, be proud to kill that fowl. Put your hand in that blood to touch your forehead. There is nothing barbaric about it. The Christians eat the body of Christ and drink the blood of Christ confidently. And there's nothing wrong about that. Then why should something be wrong about you practicing your own tradition? Why should it even be a problem? We are traditional people. We are not Christians. For crying out loud. Let's not start doing like this. We're not Christians as a people. God didn't make us Christians. It's not our practice. Those who are Christians are Europeans. It has nothing to do with African. So our practice can't be termed barbaric because it is not barbaric. You can't sit in the confinement of your European country and begin to term other practices of other people because they are blacks, and you begin to tell me this is barbaric, this is fetish, this is this. Your own English. Then we see the Pope holding human skulls. If it was the Oba Benin that held human skull, the way Pope, everybody saw Pope holding the human skull. You know, say internet for don't tear apart. Or if it was the Ohen or the Alafi or the Sultan of Sokoto or the Oluwere or the Obi of Onitsha that had the human skull, the internet would have been torn apart, but everybody saw it. We saw the Jews killing fowl the way the Benin kill fowl, and in our fear, there's nothing wrong about it. They don't get to tag their own barbaric. Then we as an Africans, we continue to use our own mouth to tear what God has given to us. The ideas of what God has given to us for all these years as barbaric and fetish. Shame on any Edo person who thinks Igue is fetish or is barbaric. Shame. Won't die on him. It's painful. It's painful for all people to be denigrating their own practice. If you cannot respect my own tradition, I cannot respect your own religion. It's getting to that point. I used to be very neutral in all of this topic, but the Benin's are very tolerant. I tolerate your religion. You're a Christian. I tolerate your Christianity. I tolerate your Islamic faith. But you cannot tolerate my own tradition. You term my own tradition as being barbaric and fetish. Then why I tolerate your own Christian practices? So there has to be a line, and it has to be tolerance. We have to start respecting ourselves. If I tolerate your faith, you must tolerate my beliefs. Enough is enough. So I can't stand any adult man, whoever, how highly placed, to tell me that Igue barbaric. No, a barbaric or born. What's barbaric about Igue? If you don't know a lot of all of this, like I've explained, Igue, it's a festivities of different history. Ugemobo has an history attached to it. Ugeo has an history attached to it. Ugiyon has an history attached to it. Ugewe has an history attached to it. Ugaweroba has an history attached to it. All of these things have history attached to all of it. And you cannot term the history of our people as being barbaric and fetish, because that is what Igue is all about. Celebration of God, appreciation of God for preservation of our head. And you cannot say that these things are barbaric. How? So we have to start getting, it's either Mario Bima, Salobari, it's either we kill it or we exalt it. It's either we use our hand to kill the ideas that God has given to us as Benin people, or we continue to use the European indoctrination to completely eradicate all that we are. It is who we are. We are traditionalists as a people. And there is nothing for us to be ashamed of. There's nothing to completely to be ashamed of. In short, we should be ashamed of the fact that we've left the ways that our ancestors have always practiced. There's nothing barbaric about it. When our ancestors were really doing this Igue, they built all those great civilizations that you and I talk about every day. The Great Benin Moat. Those people who built the Great Benin Moat, they were not Christians. Those people who had street lightning as the first people to have street light, they were not Christians. Those people who dug the moat, they were not Christians. Those people who won war, who conquered a lot of it, they were not Christians. So the greatest time of our exploit were the time where we were not Christians. Then you can do the comparison now that a lot of us are not Christians. Compare it to when we were not Christians and see the difference. Whether it is the so-called barbaric way that we have been tagged, or the fetish way that has brought us to this level, or is the Christian way that has brought us to this level. We have to start analyzing issues. Because if you ask me, like I've always said, a Benin man is guided by 4 cardinal points. 4 things makes a Benin man. 4. Not because your name is Izoduwa, is Imasuen, your name is Odoligie, and all of that. That's just not what makes you a Binima. 4 things makes you a Binima. First, your patriotism. Aweme Edo no Gwewe. Secondly, Ematanata, truth. Thirdly, honesty. Fourthly, integrity. These were the 4 cardinal points that made the Benin man. With the coming of all of these foreign religions, we no longer observe these 4 things. If you love your land, I don't think you thief. If there's really a past Edo governor that love his land or his people, he cannot steal their money to build mansions in another man's land. He won't, because he's patriotic. He loves his people. He loves his land. He will not be lying over what he wants to do or what he cannot do. He will keep to his integrity. His words will hold waters. These are the 4 cardinal things. I've always said it. Any Edo man who does not have these 4 things is not an Edo man or woman. I've always said it. And if I see any of these traits not in you, you see me, everybody, they enjoy their life now. At their house, having my history class. If I'm not doing my history class, I would watch TV. Because when you start meeting a lot of people who their mentalities are always, that negates what you think an Edo man should be. I can't see myself betraying a fellow Edo man. I'm well breeded in the things of Edo. I'm well breeded. You know, all those one mean they say what traditional help. May as well. See, as an African, our system made us. I usually say these things that I think someone came from Lagos and interviewed me some time ago. I think about a year ago. The interviewer asked me at that time. He said, "Why was it that there were no thieves? There were no doors and windows. There were no thieves. There were no criminals in Benin in the old time. There were no thieves. There were no criminals in Benin in the old time." I said, because 1, there were no forced indoctrinations. 1, and the people believed in the justice system that is served by their deity. I'll give you I say this all the time. Yeah, let's look at this. The Ovia deity was a deity of justice. It brings purity and justice to the land. How does it do that? Well, I'm from Igue community. A lot of you are quite aware. Igue. Then I was born there, around February. I go another person farm. I go tip goats. Then the community now ask, Adwe wemo, okay. Then another person went to sleep with another on a repair and all of that. Went to rape a girl, rape another man's wife and all of that. I went to sleep with another man's wife and all of that. Different atrocities were being committed. Then October, like I said, they'll bring the Ovia deity. The Ovia deity passed through the community for about, I think, 7 days. I can't really remember. Then all of the sinners, the level of your sin, your justice will be served according to Ohonu Ovia. So when you know that there is a justice system that you cannot meander, you cannot go through. That was what the Benins operated upon. there was a justice system at the end of the year that brings every purveyors of the laws of the land dead. And people are saying that it's barbaric. Is it not the same thing that the Chinese people does, or a lot of those Asian countries? If you peddle drugs, you are sentenced to death. Is it not the same thing that most of these Chinese, and that is why you have lesser level of crime in those parts of the world that gives a death sentence to going against the law? Is it not the same thing that the Ovia deity was doing for the Edo people? He brings death sentence, death penalty to every purveyors of the same. It's the same thing. But it's just that you think your own is righteous and you think your own is barbaric. And that's stupidity. Well, with China. Death sentence in Onia. By hanging or by shooting. It's the same thing. But in this case, this organized spiritual, because we are spiritual beings. That is how God created us. That is the only thing we are afraid of. That is the only thing that scares us. If it is the only thing that scares us, it's the only application that we can apply that can make. See, the truth is that for Africans to be afraid, it would not be the European justice system. It doesn't make me afraid that I will go to jail. People steal money every day because they'll go to jail. They'll bribe their way through. But Anna always deity. No saloba ye ni mabe bo. No redo no re Nigeria. And placing people to go through that process. They will not steal. Because you will not be able to bribe the process. Although they don't bribe the process. But that's because we have allowed the system to get corrupted. If we can't be able to keep that system very straightforward, it is a system that will bring civilization. It is a system that will bring development to our people. All right? So that's the point. Christianity is not supposed to even be against idolatry. Because you have your own belief. Is there any African system that is against Christianity? Is there